Welcome to my podcast. Today I will be talking about the rosters in the World Cup of Hockey. On Wednesday, the rosters for the World Cup of Hockey, at least the 16-man roster for the World Cup of Hockey, was unveiled. So I will be talking about the rosters thus far for all of the teams. I will be starting with Team Europe. The two goalies named to the team so far are Fredrick Andersen and Jaroslav Halak. The defensemen are Zdeno Chara, Roman Josi, Dennis Seidenberg, Andrej Sekera, and Mark Streit. The forwards are Mikkel Boedker, Leon Draisaitl, Jannik Hansen, Marian Hossa, Anze Kopitar, Franz Nielsen, Thomas Tatar, Thomas Vanek, and Matt Zuccarello. Team Europe is not bad, actually. They have some solid players. Their goaltending is solid. If there is a weakness, I would say it's the depth on defense, because behind Josi and Chara, their defense really isn't that deep. Their forwards are pretty decent. They have a few nice pieces. I think Team Europe may surprise people. Next up is Team North America. The goalies named to the team so far the goalies on the team are John Gibson, Connor Halak, and Matt Murray. The defensemen are Aaron Ekblad, Seth Jones, Ryan Murray, and Morgan Riley. The forwards are Sean Couturier, Jack Eichel, Sean Monahan, Dylan Larkin, Johnny Gaudreau, Connor McDavid, JT Miller, and Brandon Saad, as well as Nathan McKinnon. Team North America is probably going to be a very exciting team to watch. They have a lot of exciting young talent that have bright futures in the NHL. If there is a weakness to the team, I would say perhaps it would be maybe defense and goaltending, because there's a lot of talented players in this tournament, and the inexperience on defense and in goal may haunt them in this tournament. But in terms of raw skill, they're as good as anybody. Next up, you have Finland. In goal, the two goalies, you have Tuukka Rask and Rekka Rinne, the two-headed monsters. On defense, you have Olli Maatta and Rasmus Ristolainen, as well as Esa Lindell and Sami Vatanen. Those will probably be their top four defensemen going forward in the tournament. The forwards are Mikko Koivu, Jori Lehtera, Aleksander Barkov, Mikael Granlund, Jussi Jokinen, Valtteri Filppula, Leo Komarov, Joonas Donskoi, Lauri Kärpälä, and Teravainen. I think Finland, other than their goalies, may have a bit of weakness that makes them susceptible to getting scored on. Their defense is sort of weak. Their forwards aren't really standing out to anybody. They have some solid players, but they're not as good as the other teams in the tournament. Next up, you have Czech Republic. The goaltenders are Peter Mrazek, Michael Neuer, and Andrej Pavlik. On defense, you have Radko Gudas, Michael Kempe, Andrej Suster, and Roman Polak. At forward, you have Michael Frolik, Martin Hansel, Termas Hertl, Andrej Palat, David Pastrnak, Thomas Plekanec, Vladimir Sobotka, and Jacob Voracek. I think the Czech Republic may be the weakest team in the tournament. They have some nice players, but their defense is just not good. Peter Mrazek may be the only thing that may keep them running in the tournament. Peter Mrazek is a goalie that can single-handedly steal some games. If they are to go anywhere in the tournament, he has to stand on his head. The biggest standout to me is the omission of Jaromir Jagr, who has been always a staple on the Czech team. Being that this may be one of Jagr's last chances to compete internationally, it's a big surprise that the Czech committee decided to leave him off the team. And not only is it his last chance to compete internationally, he is playing in top shape form. So it's not like he's just there for the sake of playing. He's playing really well. And next up, you have Sweden, who is one of the favorites to win the whole thing. Goaltenders are, so far, Henrik Lundqvist, who will likely be the guy for Sweden that will start the majority of the games. His backup will be Jacob Markstrom. Sweden is the only team that named 6 defensemen to the squad already. Sweden has named Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Victor Hedman, Nicholas Jarmelson, Erik Karlsson, Nicholas Kronwall, and Anton Strålman to their roster. That is a very good defensive core. Forwards named to the team already are Nicholas Backstrom, Louis Eriksson, Philip Forsberg, Gabriel Landeskog, the Sedin twins, Alexander Steen, and Henrik Zetterberg. Team Sweden is really good. They have a lot of depth at all positions. They have it all. That's why, in most people's minds, they are always favorites. Next up, you have Team Russia. Russia named 3 goalies. They have Sergei Bobrovsky, Semyon Varlamov, and Andrei Vasilevsky. Russia only named 3 defensemen so far. They have Dmitry Kulikov, Andrei Markov, and Dmitry Orlov. Usually, Russia will get other defensemen from the KHL, but I would not be surprised if Ivan Provorov made the team. Ivan Provorov is a flyer prospect, but he is a very good player. 4 that are already named to the team are Artem Anisimov, Pavel Datsyuk, Nikita Kucherov, Evgeny Kuznetsov, Evgeny Malkin, Vladislav Nemestikov, Alexander Ovechkin, Artemi Panarin, and Vladimir Tarasenko. Well, what you will notice about the Russian team is that they only named players from the NHL. They haven't named any stars from the KHL yet. Hence, no Radulov, no Kovalchuk, no stars from the KHL. So you have to expect to see a Kovalchuk and Radulov. They have been staples on the Russian national team for many years. And Russia is as good as anybody when it comes to skilled forwards. The question when it comes to Russia is their defense and maybe goaltending, depending on how Varlamov and Bobrovsky play. The next team is Team USA. They named Ben Bishop, Jonathan Quick, and Corey Schneider in goal. That goaltending depth is as good as anybody's in the whole tournament. On defense, they have named Dustin Byfuglien, John Carlson, Ryan McDonough, and Ryan Suter. Those are likely going to be their top 4 defensemen going forward. Forwards named to the team are Justin Abdelkader, Patrick Kane, Ryan Kessler, TJ Oshie, Max Pacioretty, Zach Parise, Joe Pavelski, Derek Steffen, and Blake Wheeler. There are some surprising omissions to Team USA. One player that I would say is surprising that is missed is Kyle Oposo. Another one on defense is perhaps Justin Falk, who is a very lethal weapon on the back end. Team USA has a lot of options, though. They still have some time to piece together the final roster, so I would not be surprised if Justin Falk ends up on the team. And last but not least, you have Canada, who is probably most people's favorites to win the whole tournament. And as always, there are always glaring omissions to Canada's roster. I'll get to that later. Now it's to the players named to the roster already. The goaltenders are Carey Price, Braden Holtby, and Corey Crawford. Those are 3 good goalies. There is a big question mark as to the health of Carey Price. Can Carey Price stay healthy? And what if he's not healthy? Who gets named to the team? And does Montreal allow Carey Price to play in the tournament? The defensemen named to the team are Drew Doughty, Duncan Keith, Mark-Edward Vlasic, and Shea Weber. If you recall in 2014 when they won gold, these were their top 4 defensemen. The forwards named to the team already are Jamie Benn, Patrice Bergeron, Jeff Carter, Sidney Crosby, Ryan Getzlaf, Tyler Seguin, Steven Stamkos, John Tavares, and Jonathan Toews. If you just look at the roster, you will see several big, glaring omissions. 2 names, Corey Perry and Claude Giroux. And then on defense, PK Subban, as well as Brent Burns. But I expect these 4 players to make the final roster. Because, let's face it, Claude Giroux should be a top 10 player in the NHL. There's no way he doesn't make Team Canada. Corey Perry is a top 20 player. There's no way Corey Perry doesn't make the team. And added, he's played with Ryan Getzlaf. He had tremendous chemistry playing with him, so there's no way you leave him off the team. And PK Subban, whether you love him or hate him, he is a great defenseman. He can log tons of minutes. And he can definitely play. Same thing with Brent Burns. Although I will say that Brent Burns' possibility of making it over Subban is higher because Canada's committee seems to like big bodies. They like physical defensemen. They like very versatile defensemen that can skate, shoot, pass, do it all. Brent Burns is that type of defenseman. So I would not be surprised if Brent Burns made the final roster. And then another name to add is Matt Duchene, who was also on the former Olympic team in 2014 that won gold. He adds speed to the roster and is having a great year this year. Taylor Hall is another guy to consider, although Matt Duchene is the center, so he's more versatile. What Canada's looking for is versatility. So Matt Duchene's probably going to end up making the roster. With that said, Canada has a lot of options. That's why every year they have glaring omissions. With every team, you'll have head scratchers, and you'll have some interesting teams, and it should make for a good tournament. It will be interesting to see how it shapes up, especially with the new twist of Team Europe and Team North America. I think those teams may very well shock everybody else. The interesting thing is what happens when, say, North America were to be victorious. Whose national anthem do you play? Have you thought about that? I just think that's funny. So to summarize, I think these rosters are pretty solid. My favorites for the tournament are Canada, Sweden, and probably Team USA. And then the weakest teams in the tournament would be Finland and